Are we rolling? Oh, okay, bet.
Oh, we are. Oh, shit.
All right, y'all.
Amen.
What's up? Thanks for listening to the Inner Child Check-In podcast. I'm bringing all of my peers out here.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm trapping people by talking about mental health.
Nah, you know what? It's all good. Hey, I'm expressive, so I don't have a problem with it. I'm not one of them like, oh man, I don't know what to say. Nah, we good.
And I got that vibe from you that like you're open about talking about it and you okay. Because I know some people I'm like, they don't like going there. They're not gonna be like, they're like, nope.
It might unlock something. It might be a therapy session. The nigga might be like,
yeah.
So,
but some people may be like, it's like, oh, you don't want to go no deeper. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So inner child check-in, I'm, going through my therapeutic journey. We talked about me moving to Dallas and really, during that time too, I really took a mental health break. That's why I'm like, I pace coming to LA. I have a social battery. I can be around people. I can take so many different energies. I'm an empath. I people's energy is transferable,
Right.
But I'm also, it makes me a great friend because I can feel your energy and be like, this is what you need.
Facts.
So yeah, taking in doses, going through my journey, I really learned, to me, the best thing that stuck was channeling your inner child. And your first 15 years of your life is how you create your mind map and how you look at loyalty, heartbreaks, happiness, sadness, criticism, doubt, fear, and your subconscious is taking all of this in, but you don't know yet. And so revisiting it now as an adult, it's so much more powerful because you get to talk to your inner child in a way that you wish you had an adult talk to you, but they didn't know. They was doing the best they could.
Right.
So yeah, we going into this inner child check-in. Let's start going into
Let's
our
go,
thing.
man. Let's dig in.
So you was a kid in Cali.
Oh yeah, growing up in LA, man. In San Diego, I went back and forth.
Okay.
My parents, they got a divorce when I was 8. I just turned 8. No, I was 7, about to turn 8.
What was the first feeling you remember feeling when that happened?
Oh, silence. My mom, she tricked us, me and my sister, right? I'm 7 years old. My sister just turned, 10? And she told us we went to the school that we was getting bused to. Like the school was way out in the valley in San Diego, and out the hood.
Yeah.
And,
shout out to getting that district.
Second grade. I'm in second grade. My sister in 4th grade. My mom was good. My mom from New York, so she's used to the public schools in New York was kind of bad. Yeah. And so the performing arts schools is where you want to go to. You learn an instrument. You learn how to speak French or Cantonese or something like that. So my mom, in her mind, she was like, let me get my kid out the hood and send them to a better school. And so we used to get bused out to the school. And my mom, me and my sister got called to the office, and they was like, your mom's on the phone.
Wait, this is at the school that you found out? You was at school?
Yeah. My mom was like, hey, babies, don't get on the bus to come home. Stay there. I'm gonna pick you up from school. We was like, okay. But then we take the bus home, drop us off down the street from our house. And my mom was like, no, I'm gonna come get you guys. So she pulled up in the Bobcat, Volkswagen, not Volkswagen, whatever. It's a Bobcat. Just this little station wagon, and we walk up to the car. All our shit is in the car. My scooter, my mom's sister's bike, boxes, suitcases, all is inside the car. Like,
as an adult, I feel like you would know what was going on, but as a kid, you probably was like,
crazy. I'm 7.
Are we going camping? Where's you going?
She was like, she's this good. She got in, and she took us to McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? I was like, McDonald's.
Not the Happy Meal before the sad news.
Yeah. And so she gave us that, and then she jumped on the freeway. And we was like, where we going, mama? We going to go visit your Auntie Vet in L.A. We was like, okay, cool. We're going to L.A. Cool. What's up? I was like, why are our stuff in here? She was like, I forget what she said. I don't remember. It's years ago. But she said something that made enough sense for me to be like, okay, cool. We get there. We get to L.A. And my mom's, we unpack our stuff. And my auntie's a 1-bedroom apartment. Taking all our stuff out there. And then we unpacked everything. The car is now empty. And my mom sit us down in the living room and say, hey, me and your father are not going to live together no more. And no, we're not living with your father anymore. I'm 7 years old. And my sister had a birthday recently. And so I had a balloon that she had. I had a balloon. I just kept hitting myself in the head with the balloon. I heard what she said, and I didn't say anything. My sister started crying. She's 10. She kind of understood
a little bit more, yeah.
She started crying.
So were you trying to like follow her cues? Like, I don't know what's going on, so that's how you processing it.
My process, when she said we're not living, I understood what that meant. We're not living with your father no more. That bothered me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what the fuck? But instead of saying what the fuck, I didn't say nothing at all. I was 7. That's probably the first time I didn't know how to feel or didn't know how to express it. I was upset, but I just sat there, and she was like, Jada, you have anything to say? And I just shook my head. I remember that. And my sister was crying, and then my mom came over to my sister, hugged her. She's like, I'm sorry, baby. And all that. My sister's crying. And then I forgot. My next memory of that day was my mom cooking. She was in the dining room sitting down, but there was like cabbage cooking on the stove, and my auntie was cooking, and she asked me to take the trash out. We had just unpacked so much shit, and the trash was getting full. She took the trash out in the back of my auntie's house, apartment complex, and I said, well, I got to do it.
Why did I know that you was gonna respond in an angry way? Because it's like that's you buried that frustration, and then her saying something, it's like that bucking up of like
for no reason. I'll take the trash out. My mom, and she was like, "There's gonna be some rules now. Your sister's gonna be the one washing dishes, and you're gonna be the one taking the trash out." Because normally, like, I took the trash out maybe, but like my dad probably did it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And my mom and my dad cooked. Yeah. So, and dishes, like I don't remember doing dishes when I was like a little boy, 6, 7 years old. But we had chores now. I had a chore.
But it's crazy because it's like when you, like you were saying, and that's a very good visual that you painted. Like just, I know that like you just tap yourself with the balloon, like zoning out, and it's like that's where the emotional outburst kind of come. You know, that's where you like. You speaking like, I don't understand this. I don't understand what's happening.
And it's crazy thing about it. It's crazy. We unpacking shit because I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't tell my mom how I felt until I was 11 years old. 4 years later. 4 years. I never told her how I felt.
But 7 to 11 is still so young to express.
I was acting up, and my mom asked me, "What's wrong with you?" I mean, I'm fast forward now. A long story short, mom socked me that night for the first time. In her life.
You asked about the garbage?
She spanked me before with a belt, or she might do one of these if I'm talking crazy. She socked me. She balled her fist on me the first time, 7 years old.
Cause she was at an emotional high state too. I just left like, man, I got 2 kids. It's like you know.
Yeah, and my mom, of course, we talk about it later on in life and we laugh about it now. She was like, I never had to do that to you. That's your father's job. I spank you, stuff like that, scold you. But I knew I was going to have to not be daddy and mom because that's not possible at that point. My mom didn't believe in being, I'm your mom and your dad. No, I'm your mom. Your dad's still here. Yeah. He just lives down there now. And but she knew I had to be hard on you, so she bombed. She bombed on me. Socked me. Shocked my sister, too.
Really?
So my mom was like, oh, shit, mom is fire on that?
Passing out face. Like,
yeah, okay, my mom is a spanker, you know what I'm saying, or a pincher. You know what I'm saying? That type of shit. Like, now she, boom. It caught me off guard, not to win out of me. I said, my mom's strong. And she buckled me. I'm on the ground crying. Even my auntie was like, Linda, what are you doing? Hey, and my mom just, nah, this is, if you didn't think so now, this is what it is now. You disrespect me, this is what you're getting. Because
the same string she had a channel to make that decision, it's like you almost on that emotional frequency of like, I'm just being strong right now. Yeah. I got to do it. I can't be motherly. I got to take this on, you know. So with your dad and stuff, was it explained to like why it happened or? And then was he still around? Were you split?
Oh yeah, the pops is a G. My mom was gonna move us back to New York. She's gonna move back to New York where she's from, but that would have been a horrible decision. I mean, we probably would have ended up being okay, but I don't know. Where my mom lived, it's Harlem, and it's 81. I mean, it's 89. Yeah. 90. So.
It's like that's not the best.
Yeah, and she didn't want to take. My father was a great dad. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't a great husband. And so she had to compartmentalize the two. You know what I'm saying? And what's important, I'm done being this man's wife, but he's not done being our kid's father. And so she made a decision to stay, and she ended up moving to L.A. where my aunt lived. Even though we all lived in L.A. my mom was pregnant with me in L.A. My sister's born in Watts. So we just moved back. My mom divorced my father. They met in L.A., but she moved back to L.A. with us. And and my dad, it was explained to me 11 years old why they got a divorce. And I never knew. But I figured he did something wrong or she did something wrong. But at that point, you a kid, you just established, well, you left him, so he must have did something wrong. And my father, I told my mom I hated her. And I was 11 years old. 11. Because and it came out of nowhere, too. I was acting up in school, but my act up was like class clowning. I was goofy, silly. I was liked by the teachers and also annoyed by the teachers, depending on what type of kid they got that day. If I'm done with my work, I'm spitballing. I'm throwing fart noises. I'm walking through I'm want to get up and sharpen my pencil and disrupt
And I
the
feel
class.
like inside you like, you see my potential, so I can do what I want. Like, So
it's more like, all right, you're doing too much today. Calm down. I might be a little excited, and I might not be able to calm down. And all right, you going to the office now, because now you're getting on my nerves. It's that situation. So even with the teacher conference, it's like he's very nice. He's a good kid, and I can tell he's raised well. But he gets a little too excited, and he doesn't take a responsibility for others. That's one thing for his actions. He doesn't take responsibilities for his actions. I'm always blaming it on. Listen, Cynthia made me do it. Cynthia's over. She talking too. Like, yeah. So I'm over here fucking with you, and you fucking with me, and I get caught.
You like what?
No, but you're the one in trouble, and you might be the good girl, but I'm fucking with you, making you stop playing, and now you get talking too, but you don't get in trouble. I do,
right?
Because I'm fucking with you. You doing your work. I'm not doing my work. You know what I'm saying? There's always a cute girl next to me. I'm like, I'm done with my work.
What you doing?
I'm pulling your hair and shit. Right, I'm walking by, and I had a bean shooter. I was
a menace to society.
I was one of them motherfuckers.
So you told your mom you hate her at the school too?
No, I got suspended that day.
Oh, okay.
They kicked me out of the school for a couple of days. And I got home, and my mom was looking at me just like, "What are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I hate you." Yeah, and her face, it caught her off guard, because she didn't think it was gonna happen. That's the last thing she thought I was gonna do. Like, my mom is not a person you hate. Like, my mom is not all the homies like, your mom cool. You know what I'm saying? But
you feel like you was blaming her at that point?
For sure. And fast forward, we talked about later on. Like, she thought we was too young, and we probably were too young. But she didn't explain to us. My dad was more like my dad was like, he 5, 6, 7 years old, but I'm gonna talk to him like he's 17. So my mom told me. I told my mom I hated her, and then she was like, "I'm sorry to hear that." It took her a minute to process what I said.
That's emotional control right there.
Yeah, because I broke down why I said it. I said because you didn't tell me you left daddy, and you didn't even tell me. You didn't even ask me if I wanted to stay with him. How you know I wanted to live with you? You know what I'm saying? I know. And my mom is not a crier. She's in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she just sat there, and then just took that. And she said, "I'm sorry you feel that way." I just told everything. You took me from him, and we lived fucked up. We lived in the hood. We lived in the 90s, in the 90 on 94th in Vermont. And I went from being a little kid with my own bedroom and 2-parent home, 2-car garage. We wasn't rich
to
at
living
all.
with Auntie Linda.
Yeah. Auntie Vet. Yeah, my mom and Linda. Same shit.
Auntie, okay.
My Auntie Vet. And I'm sleeping on the floor and shit. Then we get our own spot. Obviously, we get our own spot eventually, but it's me and my sister sharing a room and shit. I ain't never had to share a room with my sister. From 0 to 7. Now I'm 11. We sharing a room and shit, and we fighting over shit and stuff like that. We had less resources. We live in the hood. We getting robbed and shit like that. It's just I'm getting beat on and shit. I'm fighting niggas and shit. It's just a way different lifestyle growing up in L.A. in that neighborhood than where I grew up and going to this damn Valley school with my mom and with my sister. So I was like, nigga, we over here getting jacked and shit. I'm 7 years old.
You had to have made the wrong decision. Like,
yeah, I'm like, you fucking up.
As a kid, you like, what? I don't understand. Like,
and
how could you make this decision?
I want to be like, you fucking up. Like, how? I'm 11 years old, and I'm a big 11 too. I've been the same height since 14. You know what I'm saying? So at 11, I'm like 5'11", 6 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like.
So then is your mom? How tall was she?
My mom isn't that big. My dad is 6'4".
Okay.
He was 6'4", and my dad's side of the family is tall. And my brother, my uncle, my mom's sister, my mom's brother, rest in peace. He was 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". You know what I'm saying? So, but she's like, my mom like 5'6". You know what I mean? So
you get it from the height from your dad's side.
I might get it from my mom's side too, even though she don't know her father's side of the family that well. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. My mom, which is crazy because my mom doesn't have. It didn't seem like my mom had that kind of baggage, because she didn't grow up with her father, and she's seen her father twice in her life.
Which then, as an adult, you can look at it and be like, yeah. So how much it's harder than to be in a relationship with a man when you didn't have that, and then and you don't even know what to expect from a father, but you like, I don't think this is it for me, but then
my mom went through a lot. She went through like, I'm gonna leave this man because I don't think I'm gonna live longer another year married to him. They were married for 11 years, and when I was 30 years old, I remember we had this talk. about my mom and my dad and why she left them. I mean, I knew before, but we talked. But she said some things that she like, I don't think I would have lived. You know what I'm saying? My dad wasn't out there beating her ass, but he did bomb her once, and that was like the last straw. Mm-hmm. But I don't think she was happy after 11 years. She loved my father, but she wasn't in love with him no more. And even after she left him, they still was cool. And that's another reason why I am the way I am. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm assuming depending on how much time we got.
No, we wrote it. Yeah. Wait, what time did we start? Let me see. 3:10. Yeah, we good.
Yeah. So she decided to keep her family close. Like my father was always there. There's never a time where I was sitting on the porch waiting for my dad to come. He didn't pop up. He was always around, even though he lived 2 hours away.
So that kind of like, cause I do think too, like when it's the opposite gender, like as a girl, and I wonder too if your sister blamed your mom in the same way, because I feel like, although my parents are still together, if they did have a divorce, I feel like as a girl I just would take my mom's side so much that I wouldn't blame her. But I could see my brothers having that thing because they kind of need that male representative. But I'm like, well, I still got my mom and I'm a person, you know. So did your sister kind of feel the same way?
Well, she was a daddy's girl.
Oh, so she like,
yeah, and she
so
started
they
crying.
both like
she started crying. You know what I'm saying? And so she took it. I think it affected her too. I know it did because my sister still got.
I know it affected, but I mean in a way of like, did she the same type of blaming? Like, I hate you. I
wouldn't be surprised if she kind of took it was okay. Like, even though she's a daddy's girl, she might have stayed with my mom. Might have. You know what I'm saying? I probably stayed with my dad though. Yeah. And I consider myself a mama's boy, even though I don't know the negative connotations with mama's boys. That's not me. I never set up under her like that, but I love my mom to death. You know what I'm saying?
To me now as an adult, I think mama's boys is good because it's like, oh, well, you were loved right by your mom, so I don't have to be your mom as much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of good that it's like, no, you have a good relationship with your mom. You know how to, like, take care of her. You know how to hit the marks of her birthday, her mother's day, her day, you know, like.
And my mom is different. My mom isn't like, my mom raised me to be a husband.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing with my pops. I mean, like, so I was gamed up right. So I never got to that situation where my girl got to be my mom and stuff like that. I was very self-sufficient. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of dudes was like that. A lot. They treat their girlfriends like their mom. Why can't you just do it for me real quick? Yeah. Damn, my man, shit. Can you iron this real quick?
And it's almost like you got to set their discipline for them. And then it's like, it comes to like, you're nagging. And it's like, I'm not nagging. It's just a certain amount of self-discipline that you should have for yourself. That, yes, as a kid, your mom will be the one to be like, do this, do that, don't do this. And if you didn't have that and she was not on your ass like that to make you, you didn't have that motherly love to grow into a man, I got to give it to you now. Yeah. But I got too much shit to do. Like, man, you know? That's tough. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about the different types of inner child wounds. Because I feel like the concept of connecting to your inner child and really understanding how so much of your life you still filter through this little kid lens, no matter how old you get. You could be 100 years old. You're still that same little person that started collecting information. You're still that same person who had the natural likes, the natural personality, the natural things that they didn't like, didn't feel uncomfortable, you know. Right. And as you grow up, you learn to almost hide what you naturally are. As a kid, it's like, don't say this in public, don't do this, don't act like that. Don't you learn from your experiences and who you're around. So I want people to channel, you know, back to that self of like just getting back to that natural core. Like,
keep you young, man.
Yeah, like, who am I? What did I like? But these are the types of inner child wounds because there's different types. So this is helping the listeners too. So you can have a guilt wound, and that means you feel sorry or bad about something. You don't like to ask for things. Right. You use guilt to manipulate people, or you're easily manipulated by guilt. Right. You're afraid to set boundaries, and you normally attract people who make you feel guilty. Right. I don't really have the guilt wound personally. Do you feel like you have a guilt wound?
I don't guilt trip people, no, not at all, and I don't allow people to guilt trip me, especially when if it's not necessary, if it's not valid. Like some people be like, well, I hate when people say I don't want to be mean. Being assertive and telling someone how you feel is not being mean. Being disrespectful and you know, there is mean. There's like, oh, that's mean, bro, or that's disrespectful. But like, nah, just being honest with somebody and That's not being mean. That's something.
And I hope some people, because there are some kids who grew up. I didn't have to have this where I was ever made feel guilty of what was happening in the adult's life or whatever was happening around them. It felt like it was my fault in any way or this. But there are people who grow up with that, and I think what could help our listeners who are listening is just even that perspective, which sounds normal to us, but somebody who's got a guilt wound is like, yeah, wait, it's not my fault, and actually, I shouldn't feel responsible for that. And I,
constant communication, and that's a lot of kids don't get it. Sometimes their parents don't know how to translate it to their children in a way that they can digest it. So it'd be situations where you might feel it's your fault because your mom divorces your dad and leaves, and now your dad's not coming around. So now you feel like, damn, he's not coming around. Is it something I did? Either they feel like I did something wrong to where now my pops don't love me no more, or my mom did something wrong. But this is the person that's taking care of you, and you love them, but you don't love you kind of resent them for a reason that might not even be their fault.
Or even if you see your parents make sacrifices for you and you feel guilty about it, like, dang, you couldn't afford this, but you fed me for that, or dang, you couldn't do this. It's like,
ooh, I gotta take that back. But you just said something. The guilt I used to feel for my mom, just after the whole "I hate you" thing, because it wasn't true. I didn't hate her. I was upset, so that's the first thing. I wanted to hurt her feelings in some way because I was hurting, and so. But I remember I got too big for my mom to whoop. Like, and I can see one time, the first time I saw her, my mom felt overwhelmed with me because I was way too big. Like I said, I've been I was never this wide, but I was a 6'3" since 14, and so my mom hit me. It wouldn't hurt. I was beating up niggas 3 years older than me, and I was at that age.
That's how my little brother, like, he big. I'm like,
so my mom was my mom tried to grab me and pull me close, and I wasn't trying to pull away, but she broke her nail trying to pull me, and I didn't come. I was too big. Yeah. And she just like,
you didn't move me.
Go to your room. I was like, all right. And I'm sitting in my room mad, and then I could see my mom, not that day, but the day I saw my mom, like, didn't know what to do with me, and she was just like, her face, it looked so like, what can I do now? Because threatening him with a spanking, with a belt, that's not going to do anything. I didn't already been in too many major fights, busted noses and lips, and broke my hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom is too not strong enough to hurt me anymore. So I started acting right because I felt guilty that she doesn't deserve this. My mom was awesome. My mom was dope. She didn't neglect me. She did her best. I could tell. I saw her trying. Like, we didn't have a car one time. I was in the Boy Scouts. We had a potluck. My mom was late, and I was like, "Damn, mom late, man." But she came with a big ass 2 pans of spaghetti on a bus. That's 2 buses where we lived. We lived across town, and my mom came, and I was like, I just saw, and she waited for me, and then we took the bus home. You know what I'm saying? But like, damn, that's like, my mom did that, and she was a big girl too, so she wasn't really. That was a task. Yeah. All that walking and all that. I'm saying.
And as a kid, it is almost something that you could kind of pass up, but you have to take a step back to be like, wow. Because as an adult, when people do stuff for you, when you just supposed to take care of yourself, you be like, oh wow, thank you. Like, you know, just a stranger even doing something for you, be like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Because as a kid, you are used to everybody, you know, like, okay, doing stuff, but then you be like, wow, you really. And now I don't have kids yet, but having a niece and nephew, I'm like, you know how many times I could be doing something else, and I sacrifice to spend time with y'all, to show up for your things, to do this. And that is the revelation of like, oh, so yeah, my parents was adults doing this. They had their own feelings, their own emotions, their own lives.
I don't have no kids yet.
You know?
I imagine like having to, right after work, rush to an event, a game or something like that. My mom was doing all that shit. And you know what? We was poor, so we didn't have like I didn't have the fresh gear. I didn't have the Nintendo.
Same. I grew up as a broke baby. Like,
I was a broke baby like a motherfucker. And my father is the one that kind of got me to realize, nigga, your mom does a lot for you. Yeah. And so even though he was upset with my mom for dipping on him years prior, but he knew that she was a good woman and a good mother. And he said one time, and he said it was subtext. He said one day, I was like, maybe around the time I changed, he was like, take care of your mom. I was coming to visit him, and he was dropping me back off in LA, and then we was chilling, and then we walked back. I walked him back to the car when he was about to leave our house, and he was like, take care of your mother. And that was more. I mean, I was like, what you mean? I don't got no money. I'll take care of her. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it that way. And
the
it was almost in a way like
support, the appreciation.
Because for sure, And then as I got older and talking to my mom more, I'm like, man, she needed that. So
yeah, and I literally came to this revelation like 2 weeks ago that I was like, I'm not weak as a female for needing it, because coming from New York and the East Coast, it'd be like,
yeah, you got it's a different
tough chin out, chest
exterior,
out,
yeah.
And then I'm like, no, I'm not weak for needing emotional support from a man. I'm not weak for needing to feel like you give a fuck about me and you're gonna have my back and you can encourage me to be like, go kill your shit, go do your shit. Like, no, I'm not weak for needing appreciate, like, you know. But yeah, I will say East Coast females in general, I think we definitely be like
different.
Hustle, get it.
Don't ask for shit hard, exterior. Nope. My mom didn't really ask for it. My dad never paid a child support a day in his life. Well, for us. For me, we're his youngest two kids, me and my sister. She never asked him for nothing. Now she might have asked him for something here and there.
But I know what you mean in the way of like, I know that mindset of like.
Yeah, she got. I'm like, nigga. Nowadays I could laugh and joke with her. I'm like, Mama, you should have. Shit, we was struggling like a motherfucker. Like, we was struggling.
Hold up. Yeah. So that's the Okay, so the guilt wound is that I would say what we touched on of like how we can feel guilty, and I hope we're helping people too who are listening. For sure. Because that's the goal that I.
Sometimes it's good guilt. Because I needed that.
You know what? I never thought about that.
Yeah. There is such thing as being manipulated.
It's like like it's not guilt in a bad way of somebody trying to make you feel guilty, but guilt could be like conviction in your spirit to be like, hey, like
chill out. Check that, man. You'll have a better life because your mom will be happier, and in turn you'll be happier. And so I didn't want to give my mom any more problems. So because it was guilt that she never told me about. It was guilt. It was self guilt. Like, man, you tripping, bro. Like she did a lot for me. Even I didn't have a lot, but the little I did have, she worked hard to get for me and my sister. So I realized that, like, nigga, why are you tripping? Why are you doing this? Well, she don't deserve this type of behavior from her child, from her son.
And I could say, like, shit, I feel like I almost more got the guilt wound as an adult after, seeing how much my parents sacrificed. I feel guilty in a way of, like, I got to take care of y'all now. I got to make sure you're good. Like, so when I'm doing things and I know I'm getting off track, I feel so guilty about not focusing on my family and my parents and making sure, like, but I'm like, I know that's not my responsibility, and they don't make me feel like it's my responsibility. They'll never be like, you have to, but I feel that, like, I feel guilty. Like, you gave so much, not only life, but, like, shit, your whole fucking life to raise me.
Yeah, for real. Even afterwards, even after I was 18 and gone, my mom was still checking up on me like I'm 7.
Yeah.
I'm not 7, no, Mama, I'm good.
And maybe having kids, I would understand where it's like that, like, no, you don't feel guilty. Like, it's what I did. I made you. You go live your life. But yeah. I haven't gotten that yet, so I'm just still like, I gotta take care of y'all. I feel
the same way. Yep.
Okay, so the next one could be an abandonment wound. So these are the different types. So we got the guilt wound as an inner child wound, and you can have the abandonment wound, and this can make you feel left out. You fear being left. You hate being alone. You could be codependent as an adult. When you get mad, you threaten to leave people quickly. And you normally attract emotionally unavailable people.
Ooh.
You think you got this one more than the good one?
No. I'm blessed, man.
Yeah, you don't?
I don't have that.
Okay. No. That's good.
I never felt it. My parents were very attentive, both of them. Even for my father, who lived 2.5 hours away, I never felt the void. I didn't wake up with him every day. You know what I'm saying? That was unfortunate until I went to go live with him when I was in middle school and high school. But like, my mom never felt. I never felt second option to her to anything else. So I never felt that bad. I could be by myself. I enjoy solitude. You know what I'm saying? And I'm comfortable in my own skin. My parents help me. My parents are a good reason why I am the way I am. I see a lot of my father in me, and a lot of people revered my father. You know what I'm saying? They looked up to him and respected him. And that was in the room full of other men. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like for me, I don't have an event. Like, it's weird. I feel like I'm half and half on this because it's like, my parents are still together. I'm close to all my siblings. Like, my immediate family is good. But my extended family, which are my aunts and uncles and cousins, so many of them got divorces. And then my aunt took my cousins. I never seen them again, until now when I'm 16, 17, and we're adults, so we could connect on Facebook. But it was like, that was traumatizing for me. Whereas, like, I was like, we would do these family trips every year and everybody would come, and then slowly but surely
some of them are not there no more.
Every year somebody not coming until it was just like my family was like the only people who stayed together. My parents, all my siblings, like my parents' siblings, aunts and uncles, they all got divorced. So a lot of them took the kids away. And with my mom, it's like they were uncles. Like she didn't have any other sisters, so it was uncles. So it was like the mom took the kids.
Right.
So we just didn't see them. And then the moms in my case that I saw, they hated the uncles. They made a lot of my cousins hate the uncles, but that's crazy. My uncle is the blood one to me. That's the wife. So it's like, that's my abandonment thing. And I think that's why it's like I try to hold on to friends who don't serve me purposes well. I try to hold on to relationships. I hold on to things because I'd be like, I was a kid, like, why could y'all sit there and argue and just never talk again? That's crazy to me. You know, and I'm like, and I lived in a, it's like it's the split house. It'd be one house, but they split that bitch up. Yeah, and it'd be two houses. Yeah. But my aunt and uncle lived in the next door. So it's like it was one house, but it was split. And so they lived in the second half of the house. Yeah. One night, we just hear my aunt and uncle arguing. The cops come. They gone. Damn. Didn't see my cousin again for like 10 years. That's crazy. But then we went and my parents was like, all right, cool. Well, we might as well just take over the other half of the house. So then we like knocked down the walls and shit and we took over. So then we just became one full house that we had. But I remember the next day walking through and seeing shit that my cousins left, like their rooms scattered. Those are your siblings too. Damn near. It seemed like, because we live almost in the same house. It's just a wall. Right, like, that's what I'm saying. Nah, I didn't have that abandonment issue. But I am the person that loves to bring family together. And like for example, my father had a son. Like I was in 8th grade. My dad told me when I came home from school, he was like, "Son, you have an older brother." I'm like, "Yeah, man." And Malik, my older brother. Now you got another brother that he just found out about. And my brother was like 38 at the time. I'm in the 8th grade. I'm like, "What?" Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot to process. Yeah, he hit me with that. Cause I was like. Yeah, he lives in Ohio. His name is my dad's from Cleveland. His name is Burnell, and I was like, okay. I was excited. I got another brother. Like, yay! But it's crazy. I'm the youngest, and my older brother's oldest sibling. They was like, they ain't our brother. I don't know that nigga. So they also was raised different. They had a different mom. Me and my sister had the same mom and dad, and my older siblings, there's 4 more before me, and my sister, they have the same mom and our father. We all have the same dad. And so I was looking, it was an opportunity for me to meet my older brother. And I think my brother, like, man, I'm the oldest. I don't know this nigga. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but you didn't follow the social cues from your other brothers and be like, because I feel like some people could be like, well, that's how y'all feel, so I'm going to feel this way too. Yeah, fuck him. That ain't my brother. And that's crazy because I looked up to my brother, man. I mean, we 15 years apart. Like, he's 15 years older than me. And my other brother, Malik, is 11 years older than me. So, of course, I looked up to them like they was my second dad in a sense. But I've always been, I've never, I've always had my own mind. That's good that you were strong-minded like that. Oh, no, we cool. That's good. And by the time I found out, I was 13. But 13 ain't really not that old. Because it's 25-year-olds who still don't have their own mind. It's 30-year-olds, it's 45-year-olds who don't have their own mind. That's true. And that's so to be 13 and then your older brothers be like, yeah, we icing him out. And you're like, I'm not. That's strong. Nah, yeah. You're strong for that. Yeah. That's dope. That's my father and me. That's my pops. Because they're very much like my dad, too. They're not really followers. And so me either. If it didn't seem right to me, that's what hence the whole gangbanging shit. I never got into that. I lived around it, grew up with a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, for me to go over there and join a gang and be basically pressured or forced to do some damage to some other niggas I don't even know. Nah. And I might wake up that day and not feel like I don't feel like I don't want to be a savage 24/7. I might want to chill today. Right. So, but so abandonment issues, no, I don't have that, but I do love try to keep the friendships intact. I've never been, I trust a lot. I'm cool with a lot of people, but I trust very few people. I can hang out with you at school and stuff like that, but to bring you at my crib, hang out with you with my family, you gotta be special to me. I feel like I don't have full blown abandonment issues because I do feel like I've dated somebody who had abandonment issues, and every time we would argue, he'd be like, "I'm done with you. I get just here break up," and then 10 hours later, it's like, oh, "No, I don't want to break up." But it's like every time we have a disagreement, you have to be like, "I'm going on this." It's like, oh, because you're afraid that I'm gonna leave. So you're gonna dip force. So first. You're like, but you really don't want to leave because 10 hours later you're like, "I'm sorry, but it's like that can't be your knee-jerk reaction to leave because, like I said, my parents still together. It's not in me to leave. It's we sticking this shit out, right? So it's like, but your thing is like, nope, I gotta, nope, and then so I don't feel like I have a full blown one, but in romantic relationships, but yeah, when it comes to family and friends,
I try to hold on to
I'll
friends.
keep pulling my boundaries back to let people step over my boundaries to keep them in my life, because I'd be like, why did he, like, you could stop and you could never talk to that person again.
Me?
No, I'm just saying, like, that happens in life. Like,
I can.
No matter if it's blood, a friend, a spouse, whatever. Like,
my father
I don't like endings.
Nah, I don't
like it.
I don't like it either, and I haven't had to. I fell out with one friend in my life, and that was a couple years ago.
Shit,
and even to this day,
10.
I still don't hate him. I don't hate him. We not on bad terms. I just can't rock with you for a certain reason. You know what I'm saying? And he's not a bad person. He just, I'm specific on who I deal with. I'm very particular.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a particular person. My wife always, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm very particular. I'm more like, oh, there you go. I'm that.
Yeah, a little bit more space.
Yeah. And so, nah, man, I'm very easy to talk to. I'm very expressive. I let people know exactly what I will and won't accept.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect that from you too.
Mm-hmm.
Check me if I need to be checked. And a lot of people ain't like that. I feel like that's why I'm a good friend, and I choose good friends or good people around me, because if I can't check you, hopefully I don't need to check you, because most of my homeboys are solid to a point where I'm like, oh, I know what he gonna say or what he gonna do. So I know he's not a liability when it comes to me hanging out, bringing him around. He's gonna be good because I vetted him. I paid attention to the kind of person he was. Same thing in relationships. I don't have even exes. I was talking to my wife the other day about, I don't have no, can't stand this man.
I'm so
Nah,
mad.
we cool.
Like,
We
it's
just
like,
yeah. I'm cool. Almost every person I dealt with on the serious tip, to this day is like, hey, how you doing? If I saw him, what's going on?
So it seems like you have a lot of good emotional control to kind of like not blow up. To me, and my mom literally was saying this to me yesterday, because I'm dealing with this shit with a guy friend who's one of my closest friends. We've been friends for a decade. His girl don't really want him to have female friends like that. And I'm trying to like reach out to her to build a relationship with her separately outside of him, so we could stay in each other's lives. She ain't really with it. And I'm just kind of like, it makes me want to talk shit about her and be like, man, this bitch, but my mom was like, if you do that, you're going to make yourself the villain.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do that so many times where I'm not the villain, but when somebody hurts me, I'll give you a good fuck you when you leave the door, which makes it so much easier to cut me off.
Yeah.
Because I done show my ass and be like, blah, 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 you, and let me tell you so it makes it easier to be like, oh, she's just, When I wasn't in the wrong, you really hurt me. You're really doing some fucked up shit, and I need to be able, but that's East Coast women shit. I don't play victim.
Yeah.
And I need to be comfortable sometimes being the victim of the situation. Like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But when I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I actually am the victim, and I turn into the villain because I turn the fuck up.
Hey, I'm both. I'm layered. I'm layered.
Like, damn, just sometimes let the shit happen to you so you can be like, it wasn't my fault.
I purposely treat you right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do something wrong and I start tripping, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
If niggas who know me, if Josh tripping, that person did something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect at all, but I'm not the person that has to apologize for my actions after I calm down. Hey, bro, I know I was tripping. I said something. I apologize. No, I'm very collected.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that from my mom and my pops, because when I told you my mom I hated her, she normally probably slapped the shit out of me. But I saw her eat that.
Yeah.
And she hit me with, I'm sorry to hear that. And that made me feel like shit.
I'm sorry I did it.
You know what I'm saying? If she would have yelled at me or slapped me or choked me out.
Well, you hate yourself. But some people don't have that emotional control. Yeah,
I would have went in that room thinking, fuck her. I hate her. But when I said what I said, and she sent me to my room, I was in the room crying and shit. Like, damn, because I said that to her. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward real quick, she told my dad. So that night, it was a Thursday night. I was already suspended, so that's probably why it happened. My dad woke me up in the middle of the night. Said, get dressed. I'm thinking, oh shit, my mom told him. I told her that shit. He about to beat the fuck up. My dad was hands on.
Yeah, like,
very
okay,
aggressive, very physical.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, get dressed. And I'm like, oh fuck. We got in the car. We drove to his house. I'm like, nigga, he didn't say shit to me the whole time. I kept falling asleep, waking on the road. We get there. I said, go to sleep. I'm like, damn, is he gonna whoop my ass in my sleep or something? I'm waiting for the ass whooping. I woke up in the morning. He sat me down. Your mom told me you hated her. I was like, oh shit. I started crying and shit. I don't hate her. I know you don't. But why'd you say it? And my dad already knew why I said it.
Yeah.
He just wanted to hear me say it. So he just broke it down. That's when he told me why my wife his wife left him, and it's like I was like, oh shit, nigga, I would left you too. What's wrong with you? So he broke it down to me at 11 years old.
Shout out for your dad. Your dad was willing to be the villain in that situation. You know, to be like, look,
you placing the blame the wrong. Like, your mom had to leave,
and it's not even when you even get older. You like, it's neither of y'all fault. Y'all just adults, and shit don't work out.
Right. Nah, exactly. So,
but a lot of men wouldn't be strong enough to go really talk to their sons and be like, I'm not Superman.
Right.
Because our parents want to be superheroes, period, for us.
Saving face.
Perfect.
Your mama, he kept it hell. He said, your mama ain't innocent.
Yeah.
But she's not the reason why we're divorced.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
And my dad told me that, and that help me in my relationships moving forward. Like take accountability for your actions.
Yeah.
He did. You know what I'm saying? As much as he wanted her to come back to him, and she said, I'm not coming back. He ate that. And had to move on. And still parent his kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's what real men do. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel for the people, because even now as I'm an adult, there's so many people that I know that I'm close to that I'm like, they not really happy. They don't really want to stay in that shit. They don't really want to do it. But they're making sacrifices. Like, I don't want to be with this person anymore, but I don't want to fuck up my kid's world.
Right.
I don't want to fuck up their environment. And I don't want to give anybody advice, because at the end of the day, you know what's best for you. But if you are thinking about it, just know it's like, it's hard for the kids, but at the end of the day,
if I would have
happy mom is a better mom. A happy dad is a better dad.
Right.
And when you stay together and you're miserable, and it's like, we doing it for the kids. That shit don't work really either sometimes. So.
Yeah, very true. My parents, I would have caught on. I would have caught on to my mom's unhappiness and my dad's behavior, and I would have probably resented him.
Yeah, because you'd have been picking up on your mom's resentment if she'd have stayed.
And my mom never talked shit about my dad, not one time. And I was like, so that's why I hated her.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm like, this nigga was perfect. This nigga was doing great. He was the deacon at the church, and he was the candy man at the church. Like, what are you doing? Why would you leave this? He's a good dad. But I didn't know the things he was doing. I didn't know the arguments they were having. I didn't know the battle that was going back and forth with.
And as a kid, you don't fully understand adult problems either yet.
Right. Now I fast forward. As I got older, I didn't want my mom to be with my dad no more. I used to want them to get back. I used to pray, please get back together. By the time I got to like my teenage years, I was like, oh, nah.
Please don't ever.
This nigga's amazing as a dad. But do not go back to this new. I wanted my mom to be. I wanted her to have her mental safety. And I don't think she would have had that if she got back with my father.
And that's such a beautiful thing when somebody can still be a mother and a father, but we don't have to be partners. Because to me, I'm terrified of getting married. At this point, I'm even scared to be in a relationship, let alone sign fucking paperwork being like, I'm gonna be with you forever. Like,
damn, maybe is it a woman thing? But that's not true. Because some dudes are afraid of getting married too.
It's like, a nowadays thing where it's like, and it's an industry thing too. Most people I talk to, most guys I talk to is in the industry. They moving around. It's like, bruh.
I can't say don't do that because I'm in the industry too, but my wife isn't. You know what I'm saying? So
it's easier for men to date a woman who's not in the industry than it is a woman to date a man who's not in the industry.
Facts. He gotta be a savage, and that's gonna be the one. When a dude can come in here on your arm, and you be Cynthia LuCiette, who everybody knows and wants to take a picture with, and he got to be able to sit back and like my wife has to sit back and just take the picture for the people a lot of the time. And she's cool with that. And if I was a husband in that situation and the roles were reversed, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm all right.
You know what? And it really might be easier for a guy who's not in the industry to do that than a guy who is. Because if we do the same thing and people like, yo, but they not saying nothing to you, or you not getting the same love, or
I don't have a problem with
that. Or I'm working with this company and then I try to get you in, but they don't want to work with you, or you doing this, or
Hey, they didn't want me, baby. They wanted you.
Yeah.
I would have loved to work with you on that project. They would have hired me too, but they don't want me. They want you, and I'm okay with that.
No, the guys I thought that they be like, they'll find a reason to argue to be like, I can't even go to set because we don't argue all fucking morning. Like, you know, it's like, it's bad shit. So that's why I'm like, I know how it would feel to be like, man, if I would have accidentally had a kid with somebody, shout out to birth control, but if I would have accidentally had a kid with somebody, I'd have been like, shit, we gotta be together now, basically.
Be careful.
And I'd have been stuck in some really unhappy shit with a man who who just wasn't my match.
Right.
But we got kids, and so I gotta try to match with somebody who's not a match.
Right.
So I feel for people, you know. And I think hearing your story is like it is, and you really, I could tell you've done. How did you start? Did you do any work, or you just was always just mentally like, I'm strong as fuck?
I'm gonna keep it 100. My dad, man, my mom, of course, for sure. But My mom is everything. She was dope, and she did a great job parenting me and my sister by herself. But then she sent me to my father, and that's when the work really started getting done. You know what I'm saying? So like, and my dad just talked to me about a lot of things. My dad told me a lot about his inconsistencies as a man with his kids, and this is my older siblings, the other women that he was with, like, and all his women have left him. All his women that he was seriously involved with left him. Like my brothers and sisters' mom left him. And they moved out here to LA together from Ohio back in the day. My mom moved back to LA, left him. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, it's me. I got to fix something. I got to change something in how I'm behaving and how I'm leading my household. I got to do something different. And so these are things he's literally, I'm reciting exactly what he said to me. So hearing those things and my dad, I see how people respect my father. I'm like, this is a nigga you got to listen to. Like some people, I never went through that light. I never went through that teenage phase where your father was too, and my dad was an old nigga. My dad had me at 44. So I could have been like, nigga, you don't know shit, you old. Nah, I was 14 and my dad was 50, was that 54?
I think a lot of parents
59 or something like that?
Or adults are like, they don't want to tell the next generation or their kids or their niece and nephew, whoever, their little cousins, the mistakes that they made. Because they want to seem like they got it all figured out. Because kids are helpless. It's like, I can't feed myself. I'm a kid, so you got to provide food. You got to, you know. As soon as I turned 15, I got 3 jobs. Like, because in New York, it was like, I got a work permit. For my 15th birthday, I didn't even want a gift. All I wanted was a work permit so I can get my own money.
Get that bread.
That's all I wanted. So I've been at that thing from 15 where I'm like, bro, I got to provide for myself. But yeah, when you're a kid and you don't have, you just got to rely on your parents or whoever's around you to take care of you. They don't explain the mistakes of like, I didn't save this, so that's why we don't have electricity. I really fucked up because I didn't get a job that paid me this. They don't explain shit. They just put you sometimes, you know, it's like you just, you know.
My dad told me the L's he took. My dad was an alley cat nigga. He ran away from home at 12. And he moved, and he came back at 16. Like, his family didn't know. They thought he died. My dad was born in 1938. He ran away from home, and with 1948 would be him being 10. And then so 1950.
Damn, you good with math, because I could not have done that.
Yeah.
Like, calculate people's birthdays, and I'm like, who?
Yeah.
Well, it was just a 10-year thing, so that's easy.
Yeah. I'm keeping it. That's what it was.
Wait,
I'm not that good at math.
I'm
not that good at math, but I've been thinking about this. I've been telling this story for years, too. So you like. Yeah, he ran away from home and came back 3.5 years later. Damn. At 16. Well, folks were like, Pee Wee is his name. And so like, they thought he got to be dead. He ain't been around.
Oh, he didn't run away and go to another family. He did.
Nah, he didn't go down the street to his homeboy's house and stay in his basement. He was in Pittsburgh at like 14, 15 years old.
Oh, he's a pioneer.
He's different. You know
he like, and he I'm ready to get to the real life world, right?
Yeah, he was a stowaway. And back then, you can hop on the train. You ain't no electronics. You can just sneak your way in and be sitting in the bathroom all day, keep the bathroom locked, and just be in that motherfucker.
But still, you know how many 12 years like to really make it? Because, you know, when you a kid and somebody do shit to you, I was like, I want to run away from home. But to actually fucking do it and go some states.
My grandfather, his father was abusive as hell. Beat the shit out of him and his brothers.
So did his brothers go with him too, or he just dipped on his own?
He dipped on his own. His oldest brother, my Uncle Jim, went to foster care. And then so some of the kids got taken, and my grandmother got him back, but he just left. He was 12.
That's crazy. I can imagine being 12 and really like.
But he grew up fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The younger brother drowned. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
My Uncle Buddy, not my Uncle Buddy. Uncle Bobby. He died. He drowned in a creek at 11. He just never came out the water. When everyone was diving in off the rocks and stuff, he didn't. Where he at?
So that's a lot to process. And then you getting abused, and then you trying to go, and you just.
Yep, my mom.
And then that person grows up and then meets your mom and then has you, and then it's like, damn.
So he said, I have so many L's in my life to where I know now his goal is to do better in life, to make up for all the bullshit he did, all the bullshit that happened to him, and not let it drag him down. He had a lot of demons. He's the nigga that had a lot of emotional baggage, and he tried to commit suicide before. I wasn't even born yet. This is before I was alive. He was in and out of jail up until his 30s. He was just one of them dudes. So by the time you see me, I'm 4. He had me at 44. I'm 10. He's 54. He's like the perfect dad.
He like, I done put my brain through everything. And, I know exactly how to help you.
The women and my kids. My older brothers didn't really start fucking with him again until he had me and started treating me like a son.
Damn.
Yeah, my brother. So like it's so fast forward to all the work that was done on me. My brothers, and I love these dudes, man. My older brothers, they own mental, emotional issues. My sisters too. You know what I'm saying? My older siblings. Hence, their father and their mother wasn't in the best they didn't do the best job of raising them.
I do feel like we're lucky being in the industry too, in a way, because like it's so therapeutic to do art and be able to like any pain you go through, be able to make a joke out of it or a sketch out of it or a rant out of it, or like it's like a good way to digest feelings and shit. And I be wondering like, damn, how do people who can't
outlet,
you know what I mean? You just have to go do a job that doesn't require you to like tap into your emotions and your creativity to be like, damn, I feel this way about relationships. I look at things, you know.
I got a joke about my mom knocking me out. And a true story, knocked me out in the 7.
Yeah,
that was the year my mom just left my father.
Yeah,
and I was acting up.
How do you think people who don't have kind of the outlets, I don't know. I mean, I hope people find it, whether it's painting, baking, gardening.
Right.
Let your creativity is such a healing thing too.
Music.
Yes, any poetry. Just anything. But I like to end the inner child check-ins with us doing a thing, taking 3 deep breaths, and really this is time to actually check in with your inner child. So we're gonna take these 3 deep breaths, and then we're gonna ask our inner child this question. So I want you to like really picture yourself, whether it was like whatever your happy place was, or wherever your quiet place was, or whenever you just any memory that comes to yourself, just picture yourself, a school picture, you know, just go back to that day and see yourself. A little version of you. We're gonna take 3 deep breaths.
Closing our eyes.
We're gonna close our eyes. If you're listening and you're operating heavy machinery, please don't.
Yeah, don't. We're doing this while you're driving.
But let's breathe in. So let's take an inhale and exhale. That's 1. I'm picturing myself. I'm wearing my favorite Minnie Mouse shirt that I loved. 2nd inhale. 2nd exhale. Where I'm at, I'm smelling my grandma's house. I don't know where y'all at. 3rd inhale. 3rd exhale. Now we are connected to our inner child, and we're gonna ask them, what can I do to make you happy?
We're asking our inner child that? Keep living the way that you are supposed to. For me, I would say, are my eyes still closed?
You open them.
Okay, are yours open?
Yeah, mine's are open.
All right, boom. All right. I would say you asked me some good questions today about was I always this way? You know, and of course I'm not perfect at all, and I've had my issues, and procrastination is one of them. Being too nice is also one of them, because I have a mean streak, so I kind of overcompensate for that by being super nice. And I think that's because of my father. My father was the deacon of a church, but he also was ex-con. That was a street nigga, you know what I'm saying? But he was also very sweet and very aggressive too. So my inner child, to keep my inner child happy, I think I would just keep living the best way I know. I feel like I live a life of a good life. I treat people right. For those who believe in God, and I feel like I try to live as Christ-like as possible. And just try to, my goal in life is to help people do better. And hopefully, and by doing better, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that would keep my inner child happy. I think, you know.
When I heard mine and I saw myself, and I was literally like picturing myself in my grandma's kitchen, and it's like mini Mickey Mouse shirt that I swear to God I love this white pink shirt. I just always wear it. And I don't know. I asked her, and she just like talk more, because I had so much to say as a kid, and I still do.
Yeah.
But my people, you know, it'd be like, stay out of adult conversations, don't talk about this, you know. I had to be quiet, and I love talking. And so I don't know, when I said like, what do you want, it's like, I just want to talk. Let me talk, let me say whatever I want to say. Don't stop me, because now I'm like, people might think I'm this, people might look at me like that. Like, I just want to talk. So that's what my inner child said, so I'm gonna listen to her.
Dude,
yeah,
talk. That's dope. Yeah,
and I hope if you're listening that you heard something, you know, that your inner child needs or wants to continue to be happy as we live through these adult lives, because that's what I want. Yeah, I want the inner child check-in to be exploring the innocence of childhood to deal with the complexities of adulthood. That's the log line. That's what I want it to be. So thank y'all for listening. Thank you, Jah, for coming through. Me. And yeah, from my inner child to yours, I love you, and give love to everybody else.
Love you back.
See you next episode.